This is another Fisher VCR. Appears to be from around 1989. This is a model FVH-6400. Haven't opened it up yet. Best I can tell, it's a 2-head linear stereo model, so not the bottom of the line, but maybe one step up. Does have MTS stereo. Taking a look at the controls underneath there. It's got a really nice look to it. So, guy said, yeah, it just makes a sound, tape stuck inside, shuts off. Almost guarantee it's that loading belt. Let's see what it does. Yeah, lights up, nice and bright. Nice. Alright, let's pop this open. Oh yeah, there's nothing left of it. Let's power on again. Okay, I guess I gotta fish a new belt into that. This is the same as that early 90s Sanyo made Sony I looked at. And that other Fisher, the hi-fi stereo one. I hate this is a pain in the butt to get at. You gotta like move it to a certain position. I can't remember if I had to take this top off. Let's see if I got a belt for it. Forgot how tiny this belt is. Probably like half the size of this one. This is the smallest I have new. So I threw some old junk on there. Hopefully it's enough to just get this thing going. You know, see if it's worth it. Yeah, I really don't like this. Depending on the position of this gear here, you have to kind of push your belt past the gear that's covered in grease, which means you get grease on your new belt. There we go. I may have had to drill this screw out. These are those J whatever screws, Japan standard. I have the correct bit for them, but if you don't get them untorqued just perfectly the first time, the screw heads are so malleable that they'll just go to shit. So yeah, oh well. A moment of truth. Power on. Okay, so it was stuck half loading. Let's plug this into the TV. Do a fast forward. Yeah, let's play. What is this? Oh yeah, this is 2-head. And this would have been on SP. Is this like Rod Stewart? I don't know what this is. Color is definitely very saturated. Like way oversaturated. Let's try pause. Man, that is just intense. Try rewind. Yeah. Seems to be doing what it should. Oh. It was. Then it just freaked the hell out. Okay. An idler issue with the take-up. Let's see what seems to be moving freely. Let me wind this tape up and give it another shot. Okay, I think we might have a sticky break. I missed recording it, but when I put it into rewind, it kind of was very sluggish for a second, and then this just slammed into full gear. Let's try it again. Do some fast forward. Rewind. And now it's working okay. Do eject. tape back in. Okay, now it's acting normal. Play. There is something really wrong with the picture on this tape though. So I'll do what I did before. I'll do a rewind and then I'll hit play. Just trying to really work it hard here. I'm going to kind of go through everything in here and make sure it's all moving freely. Any grease as needed. Grease is cheap. I'm actually surprised that that belt I put in is working. It's not the best, but it's got some life left in it. Scan looks a little better on a pre-recorded SP tape. Apparently I need the remote for tracking, because that ain't doing anything. And that's all I've got here. That's dumb. Interesting. I think we have an electronical problem. This is a roughly period correct Fisher VCR remote. Doesn't control this at all, and I verified that this is transmitting. Or I could get a newer mid-90s Sanyo remote. The codes for these are the same. And nothing at all. You can see, camera will pick up the codes. It is working. Both of these are working. So we have an electronic problem. And the thing about these sort of early 90s, I guess this is 89, but a lot of these time period VCRs, they offloaded a lot of functions to the remote and the remote only. So a manufacturer like Sanyo apparently didn't dual purpose the channel buttons as tracking until later. You look on this remote, it says channel/tracking. Great, I can control it with either or even a universal. But you look at an era here, you have channel, which of course isn't working, and then you have tracking down here. So the only way to adjust the tracking on this stupid thing is with the remote. And in this case, the remote's not working. Turn Dolby off because this recording probably doesn't need it. That sounds horrible too. Going back to the bad audio, I had one of the channels unplugged when I was doing the left-right comparison, and this was the channel that was a lot louder when playing back like those SP stereo tapes. Listen to how loud it is when I plugged it back in on this EP recording that was super muffled.
So many schools, and I didn't expect to come as far as New Hampshire. I still don't like the idea of a residential school.
You made a good choice.
I don't know, he's just so young.
So yeah, if I decide I want to keep going on this machine, probably just tweaking this head I bet would line it in, because that doesn't sound like an amplifier problem. That sounds like a head alignment problem. Before I dive in, just wanted to check that the tuner's working, and it works an absolute treat. This channel never has sound. It's one of those DTV boxes that just crashes on you.
Loosely meant by true.
Think what else we got here.
The part I don't like. I'm sure with a bit of luck you'll pull it through smart. Pull.
Actually pulls it in really nice and clean. So for what it's worth, the obsolete analog tuner in this is working just fine. Well, I feel really stupid and also angry at Fisher, Sanyo, for using frickin' different remote codes. Always go with the simplest solution first. I didn't follow that advice. Yeah. Harmony to the rescue. When you see these, at garage sales, at thrift stores. They're usually only a couple bucks. Pick them up. They're fantastic. Like when you're dealing with old crap like this, Logitech servers, I hope they stay on for a while longer. The older ones use this. There's My Harmony, and then there's an older Harmony software, depending on the ones. If you get like this series, it uses the My Harmony, a little bit more streamlined software. It's pretty decent. So anyway, what I've done is I've assigned tracking to these buttons here. So let's see if this works. Power on, play.
I really like your philosophy on deaf education.
Well, thank you. So do we. Now, Andrew's going to do just fine here. Now, what about you? Are you going to stay in the area a while or go straight back to New
Nice.
York?
Don't know. No,
Okay, just
rented
tracking
a
this
house
way.
right there, very close. That way I can
Or
see
that way.
right around the school, get involved in after-school activities. He can come home on the weekends
Oh, clean it up.
That's good.
and like to think Andrew needs
Mary
me just a little
Bostwick.
bit for a while yet.
Of course they'll need you.
Oh, whoops. Oh, you know what?
Right. You can't create this perfect.
I realized the one flaw with Logitech Harmonies, and this gets me all the time, you can queue up button presses. Watch what happens if I hit the button a bunch of times. It has this minimum cycle, and I find this when I'm adjusting the volume in the living room all the time, and I've yet to find a way to eliminate that. There's all these settings you can tweak, and none of them really work. It's just a known complaint. Usually with home theater receivers and the volume control, you hit volume a bunch of times, and then it queues it up. So you want to turn the volume up, but you want immediate feedback. So when it gets to the right volume, you stop, and then it gets too loud, and you got to back off a little bit. So I just did that with the tracking. Got to be a little bit more slow to finesse it.
It would be impossible for you to live up to it. And in the long run, it would only hurt him.
I love how quiet it is switching to scan.
Give.
Do a rewind.
Understand you've been helping out in the.
So the picture looks a little dim. The color looks a little washed out. I'm going to hook it up to the CRT and see what it looks like. Hello. And see if it maybe looks better on there. Could be like a video issue on here, but at least I know it's not, there isn't a remote control issue. And what's funny is these 6000 series, I've seen a lot of 6600s, the hi-fi version. None of them have remotes. eBay's got a whole bunch of them. No remotes. So if you buy one of those, unless you pick up a Harmony, specifically a Harmony, because just go to Walmart, buy a universal remote, that shit won't have tracking on it. So you have to buy one of these programmable remotes, like proper programmable, where you can assign keys to control it to get tracking, because tracking is one of those like weird buttons. What else we got here? This was counter remain or something. No, that doesn't work. Tried assigning a bunch of other buttons, but I don't remember what I assigned them to. That's TV VCR. That's also TV VCR. I guess TV video. Reset. What does reset do? Oh, it probably resets the counter that I'm unable to display here. That's funny. So the remote code isn't exact. One thing that was missing is the tape speed selector. That wasn't part of the listed commands for that remote. So it's stuck on EP. I might check out FVH-6400 to see if maybe that one has better commands on it. But yeah, let's hook it up to the CRT, see what the picture looks like.
Delicious. Like that time in Italy when we met.
Yeah, you wanted to come over to my table.
I just wanted your cut.
That's not bad. Picture looks about what I would expect from this tape. This is a mid-90s EP recorded tape off TV. The camera's syncing very well to this, so you're not seeing the jitter. But if I move in a little bit, let me adjust. No, it's syncing perfectly. What I'm seeing in real life is the interlaced, the two fields are slightly off because it's a two head. Anyway, I think it's just this TV. This TV specifically is not the same one I had with the old duct tape. I have two of these, and I'm like, oh, I'll wood grain this one up and put it up here. This one sucks shit. This is a horrible TV. The other one I had was great. The picture was clear. This one does weird digital artifacting in the composite input. They're literally the same model. They're the same. So I might try resetting it. Maybe there's a setting turned on, or it could just be that this one is crap and I need to go back to the old one. But there's definitely something up with this set. Well, actually, or maybe it's the composite output. Before I go and condemn the TV being a problem, I have this hooked up through channel 4. Let me hook it up to composite and see if that makes a difference. Well, shit, that's even better looking than the RF. It's exactly what I would have expected.
Rich, creamy tasting coffee with the flavor of Italy.
So you just love me for my cappuccino?
For just $1.89 at McDonald's today.
That's pretty decent.
Krusty will have to bring out his old friend, Corporal Punishment again. Please, stop it.
Pause is garbage, but that looks great. Of course, on a CRT it looks great, but I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, it's just this TV that sucks. Maybe I'll switch back to the old one. The only things this needed was a re-greasing and a new old belt in there. Cool. I think I'll button it up. Before I button this up, might as well show the underside. So I cleaned off some of the old grease. You can see a little bit of yellow remaining on these gears, but overall it's all been re-greased. Runs nice and clean. Let's pop a tape in. Look at that. Beautiful. Do an eject. Perfect. Here it is all buttoned up. Another black plastic VCR on white workbench, which makes it just a delight to film. But taking a step back, let me close this door. I gotta say, I really like the look of this. This is right before stuff started to get kind of round and soft looking. It's got nice, hard, sharp corners, kind of neat looking buttons. I like it. It's a cheap machine, and this is right getting into the era where it still looked nice, but you have no control over it without the original remote. This is when things started to get really annoying. If we go under this door here, so we'll say on-screen programming, 21-day 6 event, and a fully digital synthesized tuner, so no presets. All you get here is Dolby noise reduction, being a linear stereo VCR. It does have MTS stereo, so you can select the tuner mono, stereo, or second audio program. Bilingual, they call it here. It does support simulcast, so right now I have the tuner muted. I can go AV. And I can just mute it. Going along here, TV, KTV, tuner, channel program. You can add erase each one manually or do an auto. So if I go and do auto here, it'll start going through all the channels. And when it sees a signal, it'll very quickly skip over there. You'll see it should go fast over 14. And all these will meet back when it's done. How come I didn't notice this before? It's got on-screen display? Am I just losing it? I swear to you there was no on-screen display before. And there isn't. Look, and there was no blue screen either. But it's capable of showing the channel when it's auto-programming, but it's not capable of showing it when you're changing channels? This is weird. This is like kind of in that in-between era, I guess. So audio input, left, right. I don't know what... Oh, audio output. Okay. So I'm guessing the remote had the ability to change that? because it sure isn't on here. It's your MTS switch, but because I have no MTS capable signal, all my channels are mono, this doesn't do anything. I would love to see what this original remote looked like. Couldn't find any info online. Oh, there's my pants. Let's try a movie. And it should autoplay. See, no on-screen display for that. Take a look there.
Yes, Mr. Cratchit.
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, the bookkeeping staff would like to have an extra shovel full of coal for the fire.
How would the bookkeepers like to be suddenly?
Fast forward. Some SP tapes it looks good, some it looks bad. I think it depends on the width of the track recorded. These pre-recorded tapes I think have like the full 56 or 58 micron tracks, whereas tapes recorded on a home machine may have a thinner, like on a 2-head, and you might get more noise. That's just my theory. Why not? Let's try an LP tape. Oh, this doesn't have the record tab missing. God, that just looks like awful. Let's try the tracking. Go back. Good Lord, it's just atrocious. Right? Like that's reasonable. That's what I would expect on a 2-head machine. Do a rewind. Smooth operation. It's very quiet. That's noisy, but everything else is nice and quiet. Jeez. Wonder if these were the kind of cartoons that were basically in public domain. I mean, that would make sense with those cheap tapes. And finally, something recorded on EP.
How's an antibacterial bar or new liquid body wash?
Fast forward through the commercials.
I am going home.
I don't know what this is. Let's rewind. Oh, it's so butter smooth controls. It's very nice. And what it looks like on the CRT. CRT looks a lot better. I gotta deal with that LCD.
Fritz, open the box. Make it a snack. Just light off citronella candles and enjoy a delightful night.
I haven't adjusted the audio or the alignment of the audio control track head yet. Ace head, whatever you want to call it. I'll get around to it. Need to be in the right mood to get it just right. I don't want to start chasing everything. The audio is great on pre-recorded SP tapes. I tweaked a little bit and both tracks are stereo. It's excellent. Well, show when I do some encode examples. But stuff recorded on other VCRs, you sometimes get it muffled or you only get like one channel. And I think it's just to do with how the heads lined up on other VCRs. Because linear stereo is kind of an oddball. And I suspect that there were VCRs that the head wasn't quite lining up in the center of the audio track. So you're maybe only getting, you know, if it's, I think it's 10, I think it's 1 or 1.1 millimeters in width, right? So it splits up into two, let's say 0.5 millimeter tracks. And if it's off a little bit up or down, then obviously it's going to affect your your stereo. But since linear audio was so uncommon and no one really gave a crap about it, or linear stereo, pardon, was so uncommon, I suspect VCRs were just out of alignment and like whatever, you got most of the audio just fine on a mono head. So I don't think I'm going to start chasing that, because there's just going to be tape after tape that plays, you know, louder out of one channel than the other. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'll do with this. I don't really plan on keeping it. As much as I like it, I can't keep every machine I find. I was planning to just kind of fix it up and sell it, but the fact that you can't access tracking without the god dang remote really makes this thing useless, because these remotes are so rare. I've yet to see a remote that seems to match this series of VCRs. I'll probably find it after uploading this video. That's usually what happens. And here, just as I said I would find one, here's a FVH-6400 on eBay with a remote, which, yeah, not very common. And this appears to be the kind of remote I would be looking at for this model. You have your tracking control, auto channel scan, just like that one head. On-screen programming, this matches the buttons it was calling out. One-touch record, start and record, just like on the front. Tape speed, which was missing. Audio out, so you can select stereo left, right. Now this is for hi-fi, but it looked like that linear stereo one also had it based on the two indicators. Clock, reset, counter memory. This says 6600 on it, so the 6400 might be slightly different. Not sure, but here's roughly what to look out for this model, I guess. One last item. This has on-screen programming, so let's set the clock. There's a menu button, and that's what the menu looks like. Up and down to select, enter to set. Oh yeah, so channel does that. So let's make it Monday. Okay. So I am able to set this with this universal remote. Bloop. And there we go. And I could also set timers if I was so inclined. Anyway, this was just a quick look at this machine. Super reflective VCR from 1989. The Sanyo years of Fisher.
Coming soon on video cassette, Walt Disney Pictures presents a Jim Henson production of a classic Christmas tale.
Ah, humbug.
He's the world's greediest man.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge.
It's good to be heckling again. It's good.
Whatever.
Now on video cassette. From Walt Disney Home Video.
I'm gonna miss you so much.
Left Behind with Family Friends.
Have a nice vacation!
And now our feature presentation.
While the buck cannot do without, he is from the south. Can't you hear me shout, talking with my mouth? Could you ever doubt he's the wild about me?
Shield and says an unseen arm held her back. Was it an angel? Hear her story at 11.
Listen to the scissors cutting all around. Don't you love the sound of a price coming down? Listen to the scissors. Listen to the scissors. Don't you love the sound of a price coming down?
This week.
You'll notice some herringbone pattern on some of these captures, and actually lots of the captures that I've made with these machines. That only exists through my little composite to HDMI adapter, and then the HDMI, you know, my cheap and lazy way of capturing video for this. It doesn't exist if I plug the VCR directly into either the CRT or the LCD. It only exists on the HDMI output of what I'm capturing. So I just thought I'd mention that herringbone is not an issue of this machine. It's just an issue of my process, and I've been too lazy to fix it. I suspect that it's a noise that gets picked up in the video circuitry of some of these machines. Probably some aging filter caps that are no longer rejecting that noise. Probably due to the garbage power supplies over here. So, yeah, anyway, just thought I'd interject.
Pack fresh split chicken breast, 98 cents a pound. Seedless red grapes, 77 cents a pound. And assorted Pepsi products, 24-pack, 12-ounce cans, cube, $4.99 at Kroger.
Fists clenched, leather cinched.